2022. And there's a few things that I'd like to address. You can see in the title Men's Rights, Sam Seder, Professor Dave, and Politeness. I want to address a few things that have come up over the last couple of days. I've gotten a lot of emails from people, and they're disappointed in how I've handled the situation with Sam Seder and with Professor Dave. They said that my videos, they said, oh, Blue, the way you talk about them, you don't usually, lower yourself like that. You don't usually engage in petty insults or calling people cowards or, usually trying to stay professional. And that's true. If you watch my channel and if you go through my entire history, you see that I really don't like the style, the abrasive style of insulting people or getting personal or getting petty. And if you follow me on Twitter, you see that even when I get some really vile attacks, I always try and stay professional and I always try and keep a certain demeanor. But let me tell you why Professor Dave especially really annoyed me with his callous and ignorant attitude towards circumcision. Is because he calls himself a science educator. He says that he is someone who educates the public about science. And to have such a swarmy, ignorant, and arrogant tone about something that he's completely wrong about is completely immature and irresponsible. So yeah, it really did annoy me. And he deleted that comment thread on his video, and I said that I think that he's a coward. And would I usually say that? Would I usually make a personal remark? I wouldn't, but I'll be honest, I'm especially annoyed by someone like Professor Dave who should know better. If he's just some guy in the bar who doesn't understand why circumcision is harmful, then I would let it go. But this is someone that says that they're a scientific educator. He studied hard sciences at the university and graduate level. He should know better. It would take him 10 seconds to research the anatomy of the foreskin and know why circumcision is mutilation. So that's why I was very annoyed. As for Sam Seder, I think the video really kind of speaks for itself. He was all three of them were disrespectful and rude the entire time when I called. And if you watch my call, I wasn't calling to be hostile. I wasn't calling to be rude. I just wanted to have a conversation. And what a lot of you may not know, because I'm not sure I made a video about this, I actually called Sam a second time, about I think 6 months ago roughly. I called him to give my views on abortion. And I sent an email saying, hey, it's Blue Orange 22. I was on your show about a year ago. Would you be interested in me coming on and telling you my position on abortion? And they replied, sure, call in at this time. So I was expecting, a somewhat more civil and somewhat more professional exchange. But again, they treated me exactly the same way. They were rude, they were arrogant, they were disrespectful. And frankly, I'm not going to show respect to someone that treats me that way. So yes, in general, I'm against pettiness, I'm against name calling, I'm against these personal bickering back and forth that honestly I think is just very immature, something that I see a lot of YouTubers do, and I'm not going to say any names. On this channel, I've always tried to be professional and maintain a certain decorum and etiquette of seriousness and professionalism, and that's how I want to carry myself going forward. But if I'm disrespected and I see someone abuse their platform and spread misinformation, especially with such a swarmy and arrogant tone, you know what? I just might say something about it. I will say again, go through my history. YouTube, Twitter, anywhere. Go to anywhere where I've had a debate or a conversation. I am never hostile. I am never the aggressor, and I always try and be polite, and I always try and be respectful. 99% of the time, this is how I am. So you know what? I think today I'm going to give myself that 1%. But in general, yes, politeness and respect goes a long way. And I think it makes your message sound much more sincere if you're able to deliver your message properly and professionally rather than resort to insults and pettiness. Now, that doesn't always mean nice, because you will find examples of me being very sharply critical towards certain people. People like Clementine Ford, people like Sarah Jong. If you say something hateful and sexist, I'm not going to be nice to you. I'll still maintain a professional decorum. I usually steer away from profanity, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be nice. So don't confuse respectful for nice. I will give the respect that I feel is due, and I feel is earned. I want to finish talking about the men's rights movement itself because there's a lot of misconceptions as to who MRAs are and what we believe. The biggest misconception is that we're a male supremacy group and that we're misogynistic and that we hate women. No, this couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, there are many famous women in the men's rights movement, such as Cassie J, such as Karen Strawn, such as Elizabeth Hobson, who I've interviewed on this channel before, such as Erin Pizzi. The list goes on. And in the MRA communities that I'm in, it's very gender balanced. We have men, we have women, we have trans, and we have people of all walks of life who have one common interest: to address issues affecting men and boys. It's not about hating women, and it's not about wanting to take rights away from women. Another myth is that it's only for white men and that we only care about white men, which really makes no sense because if a law discriminates against men, then that law is going to discriminate against a white man or a black man or a Latino man or a man of any race. And the men's rights movement is international. There are MRA organizations all over the world. So the idea that it's a white man's movement is just ridiculous and it's completely not true. Another myth is that we are a right-wing group. A lot of people think that we're part of the so-called alt-right, which I don't even know what that means anymore. This is also not true. In the MRA spaces that I'm in, it's very mixed politically. There are Democrats, there are Republicans, and there's a lot of people who aren't even Americans, so they're neither. But we have people on the left, people on the right, people really kind of all over the place. Capitalists, socialists, people with very different political views, but they're united by wanting to talk about issues that affect men and boys. There's even a subreddit called Left-Wing Male Advocates, which is exactly that, left-wing male advocates. The men's rights movement isn't perfect. I wouldn't claim that it is by any stretch. But it really is disappointing just how much misunderstanding and misconception and fear there is around MRAs and what we actually believe. Because I would invite anyone to come and join us for a day or a week or even an hour in the Discord server or in the subreddit and just kind of ask questions. Hey, what do you guys think about this? What do you guys feel about that? And I think you would find that the men's rights movement is one of the more fair and balanced and moderate ideologies that I've come across, which is why I call myself an MRA. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, or my email is blueorange22mra@gmail.com. Thank you very much.